The massive superstructure floated in the void, dwarfing the human stealth ship, a secret testament to humankind's forbidden engineering brilliance that would soon have alien jaws dropping in the Galactic Council chambers. "They found it, Louis. We're fucked if you can't figure out what it's for before the Council votes," crackled the urgent voice of Xander, an Acturian diplomat and Louis's old friend. Louis Burns, the rugged human explorer and ex-space marine, gripped the controls of his ship, the Shadow Wolf, as he stared out at the immense structure. The Galactic Council, made up of the most powerful alien races, was in an uproar over the discovery of the cloaked megastructure deep in human space. They were demanding answers from the human ambassador, Nora Solis, and if those answers didn't satisfy the pissed-off aliens, it could mean sanctions, trade embargoes, or even military strikes on human worlds. "Shit," Louis growled. The stakes couldn't be higher. The clandestine structure was humanity's last-ditch effort to even the playing field in a Cold War that was fast turning hot. Xander's intel made it clear, if Louis couldn't unravel this mystery and prove to the Council that the human race wasn't a threat, billions could die when the shooting started. Louis needed backup to infiltrate the megastructure, and he needed it yesterday. "Zach, Lena, gear up and get your asses to the Shadow Wolf. We've got a covert clusterfuck to unfuck." Zach Ryder, Louis' longtime squadmate, and Dr. Lena Sorensen, a brilliant human engineer, didn't need to be told twice. They knew the drill. Keep it quiet, crack the code, and save the human race. Just another day in the life of Louis Burns' crew. As the Shadow Wolf slipped silently through space toward the megastructure, Louis couldn't shake the sense that everything was about to change. For better or worse, humanity's fate would be decided in the next 24 hours. And it all rested on the shoulders of Louis and his team. Louis and his crew stepped out of the Shadow Wolf, weapons drawn. They moved cautiously through the dimly lit corridors of the massive structure, their footsteps clanging against the metal grates. The fusion of human and alien tech was evident in every panel, every conduit. Whoever built this place had access to advanced shit from all over the galaxy. "Over here," Lena called out, her voice echoing through the empty halls. She stood before a set of heavy blast doors, a holographic panel flickering to life as they approached. "Looks like the main control room." Zach took point, his rifle at the ready as the doors hissed open. They stepped into a cavernous chamber, a dizzying array of screens and machinery lining the walls. It was like something out of a science fiction flick, all sleek lines and glowing interfaces. "What the hell is all this?" Louis muttered, holstering his pistol as he approached the central console. He reached out to touch the screen, but before he could make contact, a hologram materialized before them. It was a woman in a lab coat, her dark hair pulled back into a tight bun. "Greetings, Louis Burns and crew. I am Dr. Evelyn Nakamura, lead researcher of Project Prometheus." Her image flickered, the signal weak. Louis and his team shared a look of surprise. "Project Prometheus?" Zach asked, lowering his weapon slightly. Dr. Nakamura nodded. "A joint venture between a covert branch of the human government and a rogue faction of Arcturian scientists. We believed that by combining our knowledge and resources, we could push the boundaries of what was possible." She gestured to the room around them. "This facility was built to house our most ambitious experiments, to explore the limits of human potential. But not everyone in the Galactic Council approved of our work. They saw humanity's rapid advancement as a threat to their power." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber, red lights flashing. Dr. Nakamura's hologram flickered violently. "They're here," she said, her voice distorted by static. "A council fleet just entered the sector. They're coming for the facility." Louis's heart raced as he realized the gravity of the situation. Xander's warning hadn't just been about the council's demands for answers. It was a heads-up that they were on their way to seize the facility by force. "You must protect our work," Dr. Nakamura urged, her image starting to fade. "The technologies we've developed here could hold the key to humanity's future in the galaxy. Don't let them fall into the wrong hands." As the hologram winked out of existence, Louis turned to his team. "You heard the lady. Let's get this place locked down and ready for a fight. We're not going to let some council goons push us around. Zack grinned, hoisting his rifle. Just like old times, eh, Louis? Let's show these bastards what happens when they mess with the human race. They scrambled to fortify their position, knowing that they were the only thing standing between the council and the secrets of Project Prometheus. It was going to be one hell of a fight, but Louis and his crew were ready to give them hell. After all, the fate of humanity was riding on their shoulders. Louis slammed his fist on the security console, adrenaline pumping through his veins. Zack, get those defensive turrets online and running. Don't let a single council ship near this facility. On it, boss, Zack shouted back, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. The heavy thud of the turrets swiveling into position echoed through the chamber. Dr. Sorensen's eyes widened as she pored over the data streaming across the screens. Louis, you need to see this, she called out, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and disbelief. Project Prometheus wasn't just about advanced tech. They were experimenting with human augmentation, genetic enhancements, neural implants, even psionic abilities. Louis leaned over her shoulder, his brow furrowing as he scanned the schematics. Holy shit, he breathed. If the council gets their hands on this, it could change everything. We can't let that happen. He punched in a secure comlink to Ambassador Solis. Nora, we need more time. The facility's secrets are bigger than we ever imagined. You have to stall the council. Buy us a few more hours. Nora's hologram flickered to life, her face etched with determination. I'll do what I can, Louis, but you better have a damn good plan. In the council chambers, Nora stood tall before the assembled representatives. Esteemed councillors, she began, her voice carrying across the room, humanity's actions are not driven by aggression or a thirst for power. We seek only to contribute to the greater good of the galactic community. Our advancements are meant to be shared, not hoarded. Back at the facility, proximity alarms blared as the council fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Louis checked the charge on his pulse rifle, the weight familiar in his hands. This is it, people. We hold the line here. For Earth, for humanity. Zack and Lena took up positions beside him, their faces grim with resolve. The secrets of Project Prometheus hummed around them, a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the human spirit. And now, as the council forces closed in, Louis and his team stood ready to defend those secrets with their lives. The fate of humanity hung by a thread, balanced on the razor's edge of this moment. In the halls of diplomacy and on the front lines of an interstellar standoff, the future would be decided. And Louis Burns would be damned if he let it slip through his fingers. The structure shuddered as the council ships unleashed a barrage of plasma fire, the shields flickering under the onslaught. Louis' comm crackled to life, Xander's voice cutting through the chaos. Louis, I've been working with some Arcturian factions who support our cause. I have a plan to get you out of there with the research data and expose the council's true motives. Louis ducked as a console exploded nearby, sparks flying. I'm all ears, Xander. We're running out of options here. The facility has advanced teleportation tech. If you can get to the main lab, you can beam out with the data. I'll transmit coordinates for a rendezvous with my Arcturian allies. Louis gritted his teeth. It was a risky play, but what choice did they have? Zack, Lena, change of plans. We're hitting the lab, grabbing the data, and getting the hell off this tin can. Zack and Dr. Sorensen nodded, already moving. They raced through the crumbling corridors, the sounds of battle raging around them. In the lab, Lena's fingers danced across the control panel, initiating the data transfer. Xander's sending the evac coordinates now, Louis called out, his eyes glued to his comm unit. Get ready to... A plasma blast rocked the room, sending them sprawling. Alarms screamed as the teleporter pad lit up, the swirling vortex of a wormhole appearing. Zack hauled Lena to her feet, dragging her towards the pad. Louis scooped up the data drive, diving headlong into the portal. Light and sound twisted around them, the fabric of space-time bending to Xander's will. Heartbeats later, they stumbled onto the deck of Xander's ship, gasping for breath. In the council chambers, Ambassador Solis's comm chimed. A message from Xander, a file loaded with evidence of the hostile faction's plans. She strode forward, steel in her eyes. Counselors, I have proof that certain factions here have violated our most sacred laws in an attempt to steal advanced technology for their own gain. They have threatened the very peace we strive to uphold. Shock and outrage rippled through the chamber. Some called for immediate action, others for caution. But the seeds of doubt had been sown. On Xander's ship, Lewis and his team were met by a group of Arcturians, their faces etched with determination. An older Arcturian stepped forward, clasping Lewis's hand. Commander Burns, Dr. Sorensen, Lieutenant Ryder, welcome aboard the Starfire. I am Ambassador Zelik, and we stand with you in this fight for the future of both our peoples. Louis nodded, exhaustion and relief warring in his eyes. They had escaped with the data and exposed the Council's treachery, but the battle was far from over. As the Starfire slipped into the void, Louis and his new allies huddled around a hollow table, the first seeds of a plan taking shape. In the secure confines of the Starfire's research lab, Louis and his team pored over the recovered data, their eyes widening with each new revelation. The implications were staggering. The genetic enhancements, neural implants, and psionic abilities developed in the facility could shift the balance of power in the galaxy like a seismic charge. Ambassador Zelik's face was grave as he processed the findings. If this technology falls into the wrong hands, it could mean the end of the galactic peace we've worked so hard to achieve. Lewis nodded, his mind racing. They had to act fast, but the weight of responsibility hung heavy on his shoulders. The fate of billions rested on their next move. The relative calm was shattered by a blaring alarm, the Starfire's sensors detecting multiple hostile ships dropping out of hyperspace. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a grim tableau. Council ships, their hulls bristling with weaponry, converging on the remaining human Arcturian research facilities. Shit, Louis growled. They're making a play for the other sites. We have to stop them. Zack and Lena were already gearing up, their faces set with steely resolve. Together with their Arcturian allies, they launched a series of lightning raids, striking the hostile forces with surgical precision. In the heat of battle, Louis and his team were a well-oiled machine. Their movements synchronized, their shots finding their marks with deadly accuracy. The Arcturians proved to be invaluable allies, their advanced technology and knowledge of Council tactics turning the tide in many a skirmish. But the enemy was relentless, throwing everything they had into the fight. During a critical engagement, Zack's ship was crippled by a barrage of plasma fire, leaving him stranded and vulnerable. Louis watched in horror as the hostile ships closed in, his friend's life hanging by a thread. The decision tore at Lewis's soul, to press on and secure the remaining facilities, or to risk everything to save his brother in arms. With a heavy heart, he made the call. "We push forward," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Zack would want us to finish the mission." Lena placed a hand on his shoulder, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "He'd be proud of you, Lewis. We all are." As they fought on, the stakes grew higher with each passing moment. The hostile factions, desperate to seize the technology for themselves, threw caution to the wind, their tactics growing more brutal and unpredictable. In a climactic showdown, Louis and his team confronted the leaders of the rogue Council factions, now armed with stolen prototypes of the very technology they sought to control. The battle was fierce, a maelstrom of fire and blood, as both sides clashed in a final, desperate struggle. Amidst the chaos, a searing bolt of plasma found its mark, and Lena crumpled to the deck, her life snuffed out in an instant. Louis fought on, his grief and rage fueling his every move, until at last the enemy lay broken at his feet. Battered and bloodied, Louis stood alone on the battlefield, the last of his team, the weight of victory and loss bearing down upon him like a collapsing star. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session, the evidence of the rogue faction's treachery laid bare for all to see. Ambassador Solis, her voice ringing with conviction, called for a new era of cooperation and transparency between humans and Arcturians. "Let this be a turning point," she declared, "a moment where we choose to stand together, to build a future of mutual understanding and respect." The Council, shaken by the depths of the conspiracy, had little choice but to agree. A new paradigm was forged, one that would shape the destiny of the galaxy for generations to come. But for Louis, the victory was bittersweet. As he gazed out at the stars, the ghosts of his fallen comrades seemed to whisper in the void. Zach, Lena, and so many others had given their lives for this moment, their sacrifices etched forever in the annals of history. He knew that the road ahead would be long and hard, that the scars of the conflict would linger for years to come. But he also knew that he would not rest until the dream they had fought for, the dream of a galaxy united in purpose and in peace, was finally made real. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.